Welcome back to the channel. Today is July 2nd, 2026. And today I am looking at the SUI chart, ticker symbol SUI, on the 1 week Coinbase chart. Now, before we get started, let me let you know that I'm an amateur trader investor. I prefer to do longer trend trading or position trading, as it's called, versus like day trading and week and swing trading. So when I look at the charts, that's what I'm kind of looking at. I am not a professional. I have a day job that does not involve finance. So as I'm going over these charts, please keep in mind that I may not have a nuance of a professional who makes their living as a trader day in and day out. Now, my goal with this channel is just to simply show you what I'm seeing on the charts, and if it helps you research this particular asset more or get other opinions about the asset before getting invested, I think that's all I'm asking for. So, to get started, like I mentioned before, we are on the 1 week Coinbase chart for SUI. And last time we talked, I mentioned that there appeared to be more downside to SUI. Price was hanging about 80 cents here. And since then, it's dropped down to a low of 64 cents, but it held the support line here and has just been going kind of sideways, or a technical term for it is we're in the inside bar of this particular candle here, which printed in June 1st of 2026. Okay. And so all this little line here is just saying this is the top of this particular candle, specifically the body. It's sitting at about 88 cents, and the bottom of this trend line is sitting at about 66 cents. And there was a wick down below this body, but the bodies of the candles are staying within the trend line, and therefore we're seeing sideways actions in between this candle. And the technical term for this is inside bar trading. Now, the question with SUI is it's been in a bear market since about December of 2024, uh, and or you could say January of 2025. Pretty much had a double top with these two candles, and now the question is, okay, how much longer is this bear market? Is SUI's going to run like when Bitcoin runs? Is it going to run a little early? Is it going to run a little late? Uh, those are probably questions that are in investors' mind. In my opinion, okay, while it is definitely true, there are a lot of cryptocurrency assets that only run when Bitcoin runs. We are starting to see a breakaway of more and more assets off of Bitcoin's bear and bull market schedule. Okay, so please keep in mind that that when I'm looking at this particular chart, I'm just looking at SUI. I'm not looking at Bitcoin. With that said, here's what I see. I've been talking a lot about wave theory, and the reason why I've been talking about wave theory is because it can kind of give us a timing or uh, a guide of when a bear market run is over. Okay, we don't know exactly when it's going to stop and start, but if we know which wave we're in, we can kind of get a sense of, okay, do we have what's our possibility of more downside before we start running upwards to a bull market. So what a wave theory is it's this idea of stocks don't go just up and down. They are like jaggeds. So you may have a move here, and then you have a move up, and then you have a move down. And what wave theory says is that typically, if you have like a bull or bear run, it's normally 3 to 5 waves. Okay, 3 being the most common, but it's not uncommon to have a fourth or a fifth wave. But definitely 3 is the most common. So once you get to 3, normally if you are in a bull market, that's where you would probably take some top profits off the table, because you're not sure if it's going to reverse course or if it's going to go up. If you're in a bear market and you're shorting a particular stock, Then at the end of wave 3, you would take profits off the table and then let the rest be shorted still because you're not sure if there's going to be a fourth and fifth wave. Okay, so where are we at with SUI based on this wave theory? So I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line here, and I'm going to change some of these settings. Let's change this to a line. We'll do that. And we'll keep it white, and we'll click OK. All right, so let's start mapping out what I think are the waves. And this is where it can get a little weird because sometimes you have to make assumptions that are not easy assumptions. But this is definitely wave 1. So this is December 2024. We had our first wave. Now, there is, you see these two green candles here, and you see these two. You see how the price kind of stopped here and went up, and it stopped here and went up. There are some that could say that these might be pauses. In my mind, I'm going to say that these two candles are not pauses because it never reached above this last candle. This might be considered a pause, but both of these are, even though they're green, they're actually bearish candles because as soon as they touch this this line, this isn't really a good trend line, but it's not bad. You've got, more than 3 touches, it immediately kept on going down. And so I'm going to call this wave 1. Okay. Then you had this pause here. Okay. And you see how the price went up. Then this is wave 2. Okay. Price proceeded to go down. Now, technically, this was a little bit higher of a low. However, it is not a higher high because it did not go up here and reach go above this particular high. So we are still in what I would consider a bear run. Okay. So we got wave 1, wave 2. And then if you go here, okay, all right, I'm calling this, and I'm just going to put it through the middle here. This is wave 3. Okay. So we've got 1 pause, 2 pause, wave 3, and now in this here, this particular area here is considered pause 3 because you see it came up a little bit, and then we had some more downside. Okay, so this is where the tricky part gets. So we know we've had 3 waves. We've had this is wave 4, and now the question is this a pause? Or is it just a continuation of the wave? It's iffy. It's a gray area. If you know a lot about wave theory and trending of the charts, you may think differently. I'm going to say it's part of this wave. So I think that this is the 4th wave. Okay. And then now we had this pause. Okay. And then we had this particular wave down here. Okay. So now we're in pause 5. Okay. So wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. Okay. Remember, I said that with wave theory, you usually have 3 to 5 waves. Okay. And you have pauses here. I'm going to just lay out the pauses. So this would be a pause. Okay. This would be the pause. And this would be the pause. Okay. Now, the next question that you may have is, can you have more than 5 ways? It is so infrequent that I have yet to have seen it in my limited years of trading. Okay. That doesn't mean it's not possible. You can definitely, I'm sure there is an instant out there where there is what I would call a 6th wave, but it is very unlikely. So now that we're down here and we're at this bottom of 66 cents, what are we? What what does this mean? This is what I think this means. Okay, is if we go look at the RSI and we look at the stochastic RSI and the money flow index, uh, we have been lower on the RSI recently. Okay, but the RSI has slowly been moving up the from the how should I call it, oversold. Okay, so RSI measures overbought, oversold, and we were in oversold. It's moved up. Okay, then we have the stochastic RSI. On the weekly, we had a cross up in April, and now we're almost down to the bottom, but it's starting to curve, and it is very possible. We don't know if it's going to happen. It could be going back up like this instead of going down and resetting at the 20. That does sometimes happen. Not sure if it's going to happen in this case. And then if you look at the money flow index, we're very close to oversold. Okay, we did at that same period hit oversold, and now we're going down. Okay. Um, the ADX, which also measures momentum, is sitting at 20. Selling is definitely more on the selling side, but the price is starting to get very close to the selling. And so there is a chance that this blue line, which represents buying, is going to eventually cross over this selling. But we're not quite there yet. They're still a little bit far apart. And the ADX says we're trending. However, it's at the bottommost limit of trading. Usually, if you are in a trend, that means you're going, um, having higher highs, higher lows, or lower highs and lower lows. You would be 20 or above. And it still looks like it's pointing down. So what this tells me is I think that the ADX is still going to continue going down over the next couple weeks, and that would be an indication that we are in a ranging market. If SUI continues to range, keeps it, and what I mean by ranging is that it does something like this, where it goes up here, comes back here, touches, okay? Then what that's going to do is if you look at the moving averages, so there's the 8, okay? There's the 20, and the 200 is not, it's not long enough to have a 200. So what we may try to do is a 100. 100's up here, so that means the 200, if it existed, would be above there. Okay? So what you can see about the moving averages is they're starting to compress. If we bring up the 50, it's still pretty high above, but the 8 and the 20 are compressing. And as we range, this 50 is going to keep on drawing down to here. Okay? Now, the 50 does not have to get down to this level for a bull market to start. However, what I'm saying to look out for is, because I think we've had 5 waves to the bear market, I think that we are going to transition into a ranging market. And as these moving averages start to compress, that means somewhere along this way, I do not know when, I can't tell you what month, okay? SUI, okay, may transition into a bull market. So therefore, in my opinion, based on what I'm seeing on the charts, is I think this trend line has a chance to hold. I don't think we're going to have another major wave. Uh, I don't think we're going to get to 55 cents. And we are at a point where maybe, I don't know if this particular bottom of 64 cents is going to be the very bottom. I could see SUI having some wicks. Okay. If pricing gets volatile for some reason, I could see wicks below this trend line, and it may go a little bit lower. But for all intents and purposes, I think we're entering a ranging phase for SUI, and that this is a good period especially as you touch this bottom trend line here. I would set buy limits here, and I would consider, if you are not already in SUI, this would be the best time to buy, because I do think that for SUI, uh, it's not that we're starting a bull market; we're in a ranging market now, and it could now. Let me be very clear, okay? If there is a possibility, because we've moved to a ranging market, while this ends this bear run, we could, for instance, start another bear run to the downside. Okay. All right. But because we're so close to oversold, I think it's more likely that this is just going to continue to range and then at some point start to a bull market. Okay. In other words, in my opinion, this range that we're here is not a pause. It is just simply the market transitioning to a ranged market. And this is not uncommon. There are assets that do this all the time. They have a large bear run, they consolidate in a range market, and then they start a bull run. Okay. So to me, that is good news for SUI. Uh, so that's all I have for today's video. Everything I want to kind of cover. Uh, in all things, and I mean this seriously, okay? I am a Christian. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. And I haven't always been good at taking everything to Him. Sometimes I've been prideful and I've been, taking on too much stuff and leaving Jesus Christ out of his decisions, essentially. And that's wrong. Okay. In anything that you do, before you invest any money, I really recommend starting a relationship with Jesus Christ and praying to Him for all things. And with that, I just want to say I hope that your family has a blessed day. I hope God places blessings on your family, and I hope you enjoy this upcoming 4th of July weekend. Have a great day.